Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and we've got two installments left of Wes Craven's other horror movie franchise. Today we're going to discuss Scream 4, starring Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Emma Roberts, Hayden Panettiere, Anthony Anderson, Rory Culkin, Alison Brie, Eric Knudsen, Anna Paquin, Lucy Hale, Kristen Bell, Shanae Grimes, Amy Teagarden, and Britt Robertson. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, we're going to keep things going, taking a look at the fourth chapter of Wes Craven's other horror movie franchise, the Scream Saga. And as our movie begins, it is the week of the 15th anniversary of the original Woodsboro murders, and high school students Jenny Randall and Marnie Cooper are murdered by Ghostface. The next day, Sidney Prescott returns to Woodsboro to promote her book alongside her publicist, Rebecca Walters. Now, during Sidney's book signing, evidence is found in her rental car implicating her in the murders of Jenny and Marnie, which forces her to have to stay in Woodsboro until the murders are solved. Meanwhile, Sidney's cousin, Jill Roberts, who is dealing with the infidelity of her ex-boyfriend, Trevor Sheldon, gets a threatening phone call from Ghostface, as does her friend, Olivia Morris. Jill and Olivia, alongside their friend Kirby Reed, are questioned about their calls by Dewey Riley, who is now the sheriff of Woodsboro, while his deputies, Judy Hicks, Anthony Perkins, and Haas, assist him in the investigation. Now, Gail Weathers, who is Dewey's wife, is struggling with writer's block and decides to investigate the latest murders against her husband's wishes, while Sydney stays over with Jill and her mother, Sydney's aunt Kate. That night, Olivia is killed by Ghostface as Jill and Kirby watch in horror from across the street. At the hospital, Sydney fires Rebecca after learning of her desire to exploit the murders in order to increase her book sales. Shortly thereafter, Rebecca is murdered by Ghostface as well. Gail decides to enlist the assistance of two high school movie fanatics, Charlie Walker and Robbie Mercer. Now, Charlie theorizes that the killer is following the rules of horror remakes and concludes that the killer will likely strike at a screening party for the Stab franchise. Gail attends the party to investigate, but Ghostface attacks her, stabbing her in the shoulder, while Haas and Perkins, who are assigned to guard Jill's house, are also murdered. Sydney discovers that Jill has left for Kirby's before Ghostface attacks them and kills Kate, while Jill, Kirby, Charlie, Robbie, and Trevor are all at Kirby's house when Ghostface appears and kills a drunken Robbie. Sydney arrives in order to get Jill and leave, but they are both chased by Ghostface. Sydney then calls Dewey and tries to find Jill, while Kirby frees Charlie, who was bound and gagged. Once freed, Charlie immediately stabs Kirby, revealing himself as Ghostface, before leaving her to bleed out. Sydney is confronted by Charlie and stabbed by a second Ghostface, who reveals herself to be Jill. Jill admits to masterminding the murders out of jealousy from the fame that Sydney has received by surviving the original Woodsboro murders, and states that she desires to achieve fame as a survivor of these murders while framing Trevor as Ghostface. Jill then kills Trevor and betrays Charlie, stabbing him to death in order to pin him as Trevor's accomplice so that she can be the sole survivor. Jill then stabs Sydney and mutilates herself to frame Trevor further. Dewey and the police arrive on the scene as Sydney and Jill are taken to the hospital. After discovering that Sydney has survived as well, Jill goes to her room in order to make a final attempt to kill her. Dewey, Gail, and Judy all intervene, having been clued in by the fact that Jill somehow knew exactly where Gail was stabbed. Jill subdues Dewey and Hicks while holding Gail at gunpoint before Sydney can briefly incapacitate her with a defibrillator and ultimately kills Jill by shooting her in her chest. Dewey calls in all police units as reporters outside erroneously named Jill as the sole surviving hero, and our movie comes to its end. Scream 4 did not need to be made. I'm going to say it again. Scream 4 did not need to be made. The only things that I liked about this film, Hayden Panettiere, who I fell in love with watching her on Heroes as Claire, and Rory Culkin, Macaulay's brother, as one of the killers. The whole Robbie and Charlie thing, kind of making them the modern era version of Randy, even going as far as to wear a little headset, videotaping everything as it happens in real time. That was an interesting twist to those type of characters. I will give them that. Everything else was boring and repetitive And the whole jealousy angle with Sydney and Jill was just so lackluster, in my opinion. I really feel like if they were going to resurrect this franchise, they could have done so much better. So much better. I do give David Arquette, Neve Campbell, and Courtney Cox credit for coming back for this film because their star power, their name power, the fact that the original survivors of the Woodsboro murders were back for this one definitely made it appealing for fans of the franchise. But all in all, it just was bad all the way around. And to think tomorrow we're going to talk about Scream 5. There is a sixth in the franchise that is in the works. Why at this point? 1 was good. 2, I can concede to and give it to you. 3, didn't need to be made, but tied up loose ends. Okay, cool. 4, cash grab at this point. I completely feel that way, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about this too. When it comes to my rating of Scream 4, I'm gonna give it 2 out of 5 stars. I really think this was bad. It was unnecessary. It definitely didn't need to be made. So yeah, it's down there for me. But what do you think? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's engage, let's conversate, let's discuss, let's debate in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, when we wrap up the Scream saga to date and we talk about Scream 5, which is just titled Scream, starring Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Melissa Barrera, Jack Quaid, Jenna Ortega, Mikey Madison, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Sonia Amar, Heather Matarazzo, and Skeet Ulrich. You're not going to want to miss out on that right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, right here on another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, wrapping up Wes Craven's Scream saga. To all my loyal fans and viewers out there, thank you for tuning in and joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on. That way you're alerted anytime we drop a video here on the channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar or Open Mic Night or pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Make sure you share this video with your family, friends, loved ones, co-workers, movie fanatics, cinephiles, fans of the horror genre, fans of Wes Craven, fans of Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Hayden Panettiere, anybody that you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video, share it with them. It's the only way we're going to boost up my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized and make some money on this endeavor. Thank you once again to all you who joined me and tuned in today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.